superb in every way.
Innovation was born in that moment.
Yes, I beat me.
How do you onboard people? How do we bring people into the organization? Can't you hear the music? Get out of the room, get out of the room.
I was bleeding. Now, I know we've all bled on stage before, but I'm talking literally now, not figuratively.
Would it surprise you to know that? So I said, look, here's what I'm prepared to do.
Performers always focus on results.
What does it take to be successful in today's changing world? What are the essential skills needed to not only survive, but grow and thrive in today's competitive business environment? Imagine if all managers were skilled in the core areas it takes to be successful. Here's what we do. We improve the skills of business people around the world in 10 core competencies.
One way to do second questions, you do have to be careful not to be caught out doing this, is to repeat the last few words that someone says. So if they say, I'm worried about the bottleneck in the manufacturing department, you might say, the bottleneck in the manufacturing department? Go, yeah, it's been there for a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks? Well, yes, it's amazing. I don't know how it started. I think it was because of Alan. It was because of Alan? Yes, it was. So as long as you don't get caught doing it, but you might just want to say, tell me more, you know?
To be successful in growing a business today, you've got to have satisfied customers. True or false?
True.
Okay, maybe it used to be true that you could grow and build a business with merely satisfied customers. But with more and more competition, we find that satisfied customers are not loyal. When I say we, again, if I could refer to the Harvard Business Review, there's a fascinating article with this provocative title, Why Satisfied Customers Defect.
The biggest challenge you have as a leader is not simply to get things done. You can do that through compliance. The real challenge of leadership is to get people to want to do them, and that's an issue of commitment. Motivation is about getting people to do what needs to be done because they want to do it. Because people always perform better when they're acting out of commitment than when they're simply acting out of compliance. Everybody's motivated, of course. They're motivated at home, they're motivated on the weekends, they're motivated to coach their Little League team, they're motivated to volunteer in their community. But can we get them to bring that same kind of motivation level to their jobs, to their work? Can we provide them the motives, the reasons for action, if you will, that will get them to be as excited about what they do on the clock as they are excited about what they do off the clock? And that's the challenge of increasing morale and motivation.
Great organizations that are devoted to their employees, great organizations that have high retention, they establish a learning development plan for their folks because they understand in a University of Pennsylvania study of 3,000 organizations, a 10% investment in capital improvements only makes a significant productivity increase of 3.9%. But a 10% investment in developing people increases productivity by 8.5%. So this ability to ensure that individuals are possessing the knowledge, the skills, and the ability to grow in the organization is so important.
But in reality, a lot of what leadership is about is managing tension. I was doing a program for a large corporation in Canada. It was their 25th anniversary. They had every single employee there. I'd never spoken to an entire company. It was kind of exciting. And in the process of that, their president said something that I really valued. He said, every improvement is the result of change. Not every change is an improvement. The past has tremendous value. It always will have value, but it can't have an automatic veto. We've got to take the best from the past that still works and be open to anything that will allow us to be better. You see, how many of you have people in your organizations who love change? Can you think of those people? Those are the people that if there are no changes happening, they start rumors just to see if they can make it happen. Then there are those who don't like any change. They're the ones who come to you and say, I didn't come to this company for change. I came for stability. The importance is good leaders need both kinds of people.
What does this teach you? This teaches you that you always go through the process of negotiating. Even if the first offer is perfectly acceptable to you, even if that's what you'll end up doing, you still go through the process of negotiating because you want the other person to feel that they won in the negotiation. In fact, I'd almost give you that as a definition of a power negotiator. Two of you may go out to negotiate something. You're in exactly the same circumstances, and you both come away with exactly the same numbers. But the power negotiator comes away with the other side feeling that they won. The poor negotiator comes away with the other side feeling that they lost.
So, problem solving is that magical glue that comes into a leadership's world and makes us transformational leaders, makes us effective leaders. The simplest way to problem solving is to understand and to have a clear vision as to what it is we're attempting to do. Have a clear vision. Understand the goal, understand the vision, the mission, understand the premise, if you will. What is it we're trying to do? Have a clarity of vision. Number two is to devise a solid strategy to go about our business. Number three, to look for practical systems. Not to look for these complicated, expensive ways to do things, but to say, what's the most practical way to go about solving this problem? And number four, to absolutely commit ourselves to consistent execution. The key word here is consistent. So much of the time we start something, we don't finish it. We go down this path beginning to acquire the information we need, but we don't stick to it long enough. And so we give up before the magic of revelation comes our way.
A lot of the problems that you face as managers and leaders tend to take care of themselves in an environment of high responsibility and accountability. One leader put it perfectly when he said, "The price of greatness is responsibility." So as every organization aspires to that high level of greatness, that's just not possible without responsibility and accountability. So we're going to look at how to develop that in your organization today and make sure your organization is a great one. So where do we start? We start with the ability to influence people, because you cannot cultivate responsibility and accountability if you can't influence people. So how do you influence people? That would be the next question.
Two key ideas about strategic thinking. First is the subject of vision or destination. This idea about the ultimate place that we want to go to as a company. That company we want to be in the future, where we want to arrive. We use a lot of different language to describe that destination we call vision. Vision is the search for meaning. Why do we want to go to that place? What's the most important reason? Why are we choosing going there over going over here? What's the meaning behind it? Strategy, the goals, the objectives, the routes that we take to get to there is simply the search for advantage. What's the best way to get from here to there? And both these things play heavily into our strategic thinking.
As leaders, you create the climate in your organization. Whether you lead a shift, a department, a division, or the whole company, you create the climate. Now, for those of you that have some folks on your team that you feel perhaps have a lot more they could contribute, you're going to gain some wonderful insights into how to get more effort from your team members. And for those of you that already feel like you have a pretty darn good team, well, it never hurts to be reminded from time to time about what makes a great team. Here's the best definition I've ever heard. A great team is a group of people that is passionately engaged in working towards a common purpose.